He had no home, no country, no voice in the land he fled from. And when he arrived in a foreign land, all he carried were the memories of war, loss. The dust of devastation to become a symbol of strength, resilience, and unity for an entire nation. Kareem was born in a small village that bordered a conflict zone. His early memories were filled with the scent of his mother's cooking and the sound of laughter from his younger siblings. But the war changed everything. When Kareem was just 10 years old, the bombs began to fall.
Ow.
One night their home shook. With a roar that cracked the earth, his father died shielding him. His mother took his hand and ran. They walked for days across borders, through rain, hunger, and silence. The refugee camp was a world of waiting. Waiting for food, waiting for news, waiting for life to return. But Kareem was not one to sit idle. He began helping aid workers, learning languages, and assisting elders. His resilience shone even in the darkest tents of despair. At 15, Kareem was relocated to a developed country under a refugee resettlement program. He arrived with no possessions, but a heart full of stories and a determination that refused to die. School was hard. He was mocked for his accent, his clothes, silence. But Kareem observed, learned, adapted. Every insult became fuel. Every failure, a step up. He started sharing his story online about the war, his journey, and what it meant to be invisible. Slowly, people began to listen. His videos went viral, but he wasn't after fame. He was after connection, understanding. Truth, by the time he was 22, Kareem had founded a support network for refugees, offering them mentorship, language training, and emotional support. It started in a tiny rented room. Today, it has branches across 5 cities. He spoke at universities, parliaments, and global summits. His words weren't just stories. They were weapons against ignorance, shields for the voiceless. Kareem never forgot where he came from. He traveled back to border camps, now as a visitor, not to receive help, but to give it. Children would run to him, some barefoot, some holding their parents' hands, and Kareem would kneel to speak to them. In their language, reminding them that their story didn't end in the camp. He met world leaders, stood beside presidents, yet always wore a simple bracelet his mother had tied on his wrist during their escape, a symbol of survival and hope. Despite his fame, Kareem faced backlash. Some called him a liar, others a political pawn. But he remained grounded. Every night he would light a candle and write in his journal, a habit from his camp days. In those pages, he poured out the pain, the dreams, the scars no one saw. Then came the day when the nation he had adopted, and that had adopted him, honored him with the National Medal of Unity. It was presented to him by the president in a packed hall, broadcast to millions. As he stepped onto the stage, tears welled up, not for recognition, but for the boy who had once slept under plastic sheets. Now standing where only heroes stood, he spoke not of himself, but of the children still in camps, of the mothers still walking miles for safety, of the dreams still buried under rubble. Kareem's story became a school textbook chapter, a documentary, a movement. He wasn't just a refugee anymore. He was a national hero. He was hope made human, and in every camp where a child held a torn book and dreamed of change, Kareem's name was whispered like a promise, "You can rise too." And they believed it because he had.